I think I really was supposed to be a poet. I was a poet who got caught up in the manufacture of objects. That's me. This is incredible what has happened in my career. I was trained as an architect, but fell off the wagon and became a sculptor. I had found very early at the American Academy in Rome my first foundry. And they introduced me to the lost wax system.
The first step is to make the sheets of wax, which I stack up until I have 4 or 5 or 6. And I use hot instruments to cut and to weld the pieces together.
They are the ones that taught me everything I know, and I know a lot. I was doing Giacometti's sculpture, and I realized that my sculpture had changed into non-poetic abstraction. I had to get rid of the legs, I had to get rid of the base. And as soon as I applied the wool and the fabric and got rid of the tyranny of the base, magic happened and everything came together. I decided to do the Malcolm STS because I was very upset when he was assassinated. This was, historically speaking, a tremendous man. The Malcolms combined the light of metal and the softness of fabric in a kind of combustion that was impossible, except that it happened. And once this transformation had come about, the rest was very easy. The rest was just practice. I was trained with a literary mind. The gesture of writing is like the gesture of drawing. You're doing these writings, but in your head, you're building a monument. You're making architecture. It's like building a novel. A novel has a roof and 4 walls and a stairway. So it's almost architecture. This is my territory. The monument drawings were made for literary people and for historical people who have been eliminated from history for one reason or other, gender, race, etc. I'm making these monuments because they deserve them. I made Africa Rising in 1997. I decided to dedicate this monument to Sarah Bartman and the end of scientific racism. The federal government wanted to put an FBI building on the spot, but unfortunately, they found an African burial ground underneath it. They excavated remnants, which are in a small museum on the same site, but that's all that they did, and they built their building. Africa Rising was installed as the official memorial for the African burial ground. It's been closed to the public since 9/11. That's almost 20 years. I would like to be in the presence of this sculpture in a different place, in a public square where it's not surrounded by caretakers and guards. I sculpt what I can't write, and I write what I can't sculpt. I wrote one of the poems after I had instructed Africa Rising. In the brazen glare of Africa's beach, one collective scream rams the sullen skies, vibrating in pylon of the continents, as tremors of our earthquake ripple back towards home. And in that last moment, with the sea and slavery before us, the race, resplendent unto itself, dissolves, and all biographies become one. That is the story of my last monument up until Josephine. When I first arrived in Paris, Josephine was the epitome of movement, of jazz. The reason why I wanted to do Josephine was because it's a leap into space. The verticality of the Malcolms has been pulled off the chords into space. That's Josephine. That's futurism, the depiction of movement. The artist has a kind of duty to explore the outer world. All these things are emerging from the depths of decades of work, of history, poetry, and travel. I'm going out through the door of futurism because that's where the action is. Let's leave it at that.